What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including a huge AEW controversy, Jim Ross is furious with fans, an NXT superstar takes a nasty bump, Bray Wyatt teases a terrifying team-up, CM Punk and Sasha Banks trade tweets, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, first story looks at controversy regarding AEW's sponsored charity. Topping today's news is a story involving AEW's involvement with an allegedly questionable charity. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you've no doubt seen various charitable campaigns or even participated in them. And unfortunately, what was no doubt a sincere effort to help on All Elite Wrestling's part has led to huge controversy due to AEW working with the Susan G. Komen organization. Susan G. Komen has come under fire for not being transparent about how its budget is actually spent, including criticism it overpays its staff in comparison to other charities. Wrestle Talks with Liam Wynnard noted, AEW received some backlash from fans yesterday for announcing it had partnered with Susan G. Komen for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, you may recall the WWE's longtime association with the organization, an association CM Punk criticized via a tweet in 2015. If you're going to give money to a company that claims to raise money for finding a cure for cancer, please do some research. Komen is a scam. Fans aware of Susan G. Komen's reputation immediately took to social media asking why AEW was partnering with it. CM Punk replied that AEW was working on it. AEW has modified its original tweet and removed any mention of partnering with the company. Next up, Jim Ross is furious. A current AEW announcer, Jim Ross, is hot, and it has nothing to do with his brand's barbecue sauce. The WWE Hall of Famer raged during a recent episode of his Grillin' JR podcast after someone tweeted their belief that good old JR breaks out the booze whenever he's calling matches. Ross replied, "I'll say something I don't do. Somebody wrote on Twitter the other day that as if they knew that I drink a lot of Crown Royal during the broadcast. That's so ridiculous. You want to say that? I feel sorry for you that you would imagine that happening. If I could rebuke that stupid rumor, it's ridiculous." It's common knowledge that Ross has made some big blunders calling matches, including referring to AEW Dynamite as WWE Dynamite and calling AEW Champion Jon Moxley WWE Champion Jon Moxley. However, considering the decades Ross spent calling the action in WWE, it's easy to understand him making the occasional slip-up. Nevertheless, a past incident has some fans thinking there may be some weight to the allegations. You may recall Ross was released by the WWE in 2013 after hosting a 2K14 panel at SummerSlam, allegedly because he and the Nature Boy Ric Flair had been drinking. Ross elaborated on the circumstances during his podcast. "I had a couple of drinks, but I wasn't drunk. That was the story. That was a lie. That was cover your ass. When I got to the shoot, I was the host, moderator, whatever, and I went to the green room. The liquor was flowing like water. I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. A lot of the guys that did drink had drank too much. Ric Flair and I guess were considered two of those guys." Undoubtedly, JR's supporters would argue that even a drunk Ross is better than most of WWE's commentators who have made some big blunders of their own. Next up, Bray Wyatt teasing a terrifying team-up. As Wyndham Rotunda, aka former WWE superstar Bray Wyatt, prepares to return to wrestling, he's keeping fans guessing as to what might be next for him. You've likely heard the stories that he'll be using the name Wyndham and possibly forming a group known as the Cult of Wyndham, and now he's fueling rumors he might team with a Ring of Honor's creep-tastic character Danhausen. Danhausen is a true oddity in wrestling as he wears face paint, describes himself as Conan O'Brien possessed by a demon. As fans often do, someone tweeted about a potential match, this time with Wyndham taking on Danhausen. However, Wyndham had other ideas, tweeting, "We should unite instead. How very evil of us." While there have been rumors of Rotunda signing with AEW, fans shouldn't rule out the possibility of the highly bankable star traveling the wrestling circuit and wrestling dream matches in Impact, Ring of Honor, AEW, and even New Japan. The idea of him appearing and touring several promotions has its appeal and would likely be a license to print money. Next up, a WWE legend requires emergency surgery. As horrible news concerning Hacksaw Jim Duggan as the beloved wrestler's wife Deborah posted news on Facebook that the Hall of Famer was hospitalized and underwent emergency surgery on Wednesday. It tweeted, "Back where I don't want to be. Please pray for Jim and his doctors as he has emergency surgery this morning." Duggan, who portrayed an all-American babyface in the 80s and 90s, has battled health problems including kidney cancer and recent heart issues. We wish Hacksaw a fast and full recovery. Next up, an NXT superstar takes a nasty bump. The 19th October edition of NXT had a scary situation during a triple threat match between Io Shirai, JC Jane, and Persia Parada. JC took a scary looking bump. According to WrestleTalk's Liam Wynnard, he reported, shortly before the commercial break during the match, Jane attempted a dive on Perota, which ended up being botched and she landed directly on the floor instead of being caught by Perota. During the commercial break, Jane was removed from the match and the rest of it was just Shirai and Perota, which Shirai won. There's no word yet on whether JC was injured, but Wynnard noted that JC is still scheduled to compete at NXT's Halloween Havoc episode next week. Next up, MJF respects Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns' recent criticism of AEW has led to a number of AEW stars calling out the Tribal Chief, particularly after the 15th October edition of Rampage either tied or beat SmackDown when it went head-to-head from 10 PM to 10:30 PM. Now AEW's MJF is weighing in on Reigns' comments, and surprisingly, his response was somewhat subdued. The self-proclaimed salt of the earth recently appeared on Brandon Walker's wrestling program and commented, "Roman Reigns lost in the key demographic to Ruby Soho, and Ruby Soho sucks, so I don't know what to tell you. Don't get me wrong, that's not me on Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns is a hell of a performer, he really is. I think he's absolutely incredible. Am I better than him on the mic and in the ring? Sure, but I'm not going to go out of my way and talk about him because I respect him. I respect what he does. I respect the hard work that goes into putting out that product that is WWE. Again, someday I might work there. I'm not sure if he sees this, he'll pretend he doesn't know who I am because that's what they do over there. When in reality I know that they're all watching our stuff. Again, I cannot stress this enough, a huge fan of Roman Reigns. I think he's great, would love to work with him one day. Now some fans may be surprised about how subdued MJF's comments were given his reputation for harsh promos. Next up, CM Punk and Sasha Banks trade tweets. Last Friday's head-to-head competition between SmackDown and Rampage was highly anticipated, with fans wondering how each show would do in the first confrontation between one of the WWE's A shows as opposed to NXT and AEW. Sasha Banks got in on the fun on Friday morning, tweeting, "It's clobbering time. Hashtag SmackDown on FS1. The initial ratings indicated that SmackDown clobbered Rampage in the ratings, and while the Brew brand drew more viewers, the final tally showed AEW winning in the 18 to 49 demographics. This led to CM Punk responding to Banks with the following tweet, "Indeed it was. Hashtag AEW Dynamite." Now we suggest the stars of AEW and WWE remember the proverb, "He who laughs last, laughs loudest." And finally, an early look at the Crown Jewel set. And last but not least, Crown Jewel is fast approaching, and it looks like the WWE is using the hefty payday it gets from the Saudi Arabia's General Sports Authority for airing its supercards to create an impressive set. Twitter user Planet Wrestling posted a video of what it claims is the set being built. This is the WWE's first Saudi show since 2020's pre-pandemic Super Showdown, so it wouldn't be surprised for the WWE to make this a night to remember, both in terms of the wrestling and the presentation. What do you guys think of the set? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.